Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I have someone that I would like you to meet, and this is going to be his 1 week update. It feels really strange to be filming again because I've had like, I would say about a week just to sort of sink into the newborn bubble. But obviously I have had a baby. I have had a little boy, and he was born 1 day early, so the day before his due date, which, I mean, is that still early? I don't know. But I was quite pleased because I didn't like have to wait around too long for him. If you've seen my last upload, that was like a birth vlog, so footage in the run up to going into labour and then obviously giving birth to him and things like that. So I'm sure most of you have probably seen that already, but this is little Stanley. And this is Stanley James Taylor, and he is the final puzzle piece to our family, and we've been enjoying him for a week now. He's actually 9 days old today, and I wanted to sit down and film this and sort of like talk about him and like, you know, how he's doing and things like that. And I'm going to do a separate postpartum update on me. What I would really like though in the comments below, if you can let me know if you want me to keep them separate, so like baby updates in one video and postpartum in the other, or if you want me to mix them into one vlog, because depending on what you prefer I will do that, because I don't want to bore anyone with videos that you don't, you know, find interesting. But I would definitely like to do updates on him either way, because it would be really nice for me to look back on as his mum. So yeah, I'll get started. It's so weird like having a little like buddy to film this with. It's so funny. But he was born on the 12th of March 2018, and he arrived at 3:54 in the afternoon, and it was a very intense labour. And I'm going to go and do like a labour story and talk you all through that, so I won't go into that too much now. But he was born weighing £9 6 ounces, which is my heaviest baby, particularly as he was early as well. Bill was 8'6" at 13 days late, and Daisy was 8'11" at 2 days late. So he was definitely a sizable little thing, and let's just say I felt every single centimetre of that, because Jesus, that hurt. But that's for another video, like I said. But yeah, let's talk about Stanley. So what's he like and that sort of thing. He is definitely my most lazy baby that I've had so far, I would say. Like, all of my babies have really sort of alert moments. So he definitely has his times during the day where he is really awake, and you know, he's trying to sort of interact with us a little bit, and already I can see that he's so curious about his family, and like he recognizes a lot of our voices and things like that, and he is absolutely adorable in that respect. But he is also just so lazy. This is the first baby that I have had where I have had to wake them to feed, and even Daisy with her tube feeding, because we would obviously feed her through her tube and she would still be asleep. There would still be times where she would wake and tell us that she was hungry, and she would tell us throughout the day that she was hungry. Whereas it's been a real challenge. Feeding is probably the toughest part of our like journey so far, because he is just a really lazy little guy anyway, but he also struggles to latch. So we had a breastfeeding counsellor come round, because there's a local sort of organisation here that's run by the NHS called Cherubs, which is you know, Cheshire breastfeeding support basically. And I was really having struggles with him latching. Now when it comes to breastfeeding and producing enough milk and things like that, I would say that breastfeeding comes naturally to me. I'm blessed with like a good enough supply and things like that, and I've never really struggled too much. I was able to breastfeed Bill for 18 months, and that was with going back to work at 8 weeks old as well. That's what I did, and I expressed from work and he would feed from me when I was at home. So naturally I assumed if Stanley was healthy and okay and didn't have a cleft palate, I just thought that I would do that again. But what he has taught me is that every baby really is different, and just because it might come naturally to me doesn't mean that it comes naturally to my baby. So we had this breastfeeding support lady come around. She was really lovely, helped me like with latch and stuff, but even she said that she thought there were like a few issues, and one of which was tongue tie, and she thought it might be posterior tongue tie. So I always thought that tongue tie was sort of like some sort of breastfeeding myth where it only happened to like other people's babies and not mine. I didn't really think that that would be something I'd ever have to deal with, and I did. I asked to be put on the list for his tongue tie to be looked at and sorted, and that was that. I was told that it could take up to a couple of weeks, so if I did want to persevere with breastfeeding I would have to keep expressing to keep my milk supply up, and I came away from that feeling really deflated, because expressing is something that I've done with all 3 babies now, and particularly with Daisy it was miserable because I would be attached to a pump for a lot of my day, and then I'd be tube feeding and sterilising, and then, you know, once it was over and I'd done nappies and settled her and played with Bill, the whole thing would start all over again. So I was really down about that. And then actually a lovely lady that follows me called Jennifer told her husband to get in touch with me because he is actually a approved tongue tie specialist and a dental surgeon as well. His name's Jonathan, and he got in touch, and he actually does remote tongue tie. There's like an association that approves everyone basically, and he can come to your house and assess tongue tie and then snip it if it needs doing. So he came to assess Stanley, and he definitely did have posterior tongue tie, so that was done there and then, and we carried on persevering with breastfeeding. But it's just, he's not a boob man, and I'd been getting to the stage where I'd been expressing, and you know, I've got 3 children now, and I was just stuck in this rut of like expressing every 3 hours along with feeding him every 3 hours. And obviously I've got Mark here for support, but I couldn't join in with the kids, and I found it really difficult. And we just have been feeding him using Philips Avent bottles, which are like meant to be quite good to mimic the breast in terms of the teats and things like that. And we've been feeding him my express milk, and I'm making plenty. I'm probably making double what he needs almost in some cases. Every time I expressed I'd be getting between like 6 and 8 ounces, which is really good, and I've built my supply really well. And if anyone wants me to do a video on like expressing exclusively, then let me know and I will do them with like tips and advice that I found along the way, because obviously I've been doing it for a long time now. But it has just been a really emotional journey for me, and it was just difficult to get him to latch onto a bottle, let alone latch onto me. And I have tried like breast shields, and we've tried all sorts of techniques and holds and positions, and it's just not worked. As it's done, it's just not what you want to do. So we've sort of made the decision all together as a family. Mark's been amazing. Mark would let me do anything that I wanted to do as long as it made me happy, and he's been absolutely incredible. I've decided like within the next week or so I'm gonna wean off pumping, and we're just gonna move to formula, because with Bill, my first, I had the time to give him, and I was devoted to him, and I was able to make him everything. You know, every waking moment was spent on doing the best for him, whereas I have 3 children now, and I can't physically sit there every day for half an hour at a time and try and make sure I can keep an eye on my newborn and my almost 2-year-old and my almost 6-year-old, and I can't do all of those things and have a healthy, happy relationship with Mark, because at the moment at night I'm sat on one end of the sofa hooked up to a machine like a cow, and he's on the other, and you know, there's no cuddles, there's no like intimacy there. I'm not talking sex yet, let's not be silly. But it just is a very lonely experience, I find. So we are going to move him onto formula, and I've been really sad about that, but I am also a sensible human being, I think, and it's clear that like it will be the best decision for us all, and I know that he'll be absolutely fine as well. So a big one with newborns, everybody always asks that, like, how does he sleep and stuff, like what's sleep like and how you're coping. And as I mentioned, we basically have to wake him every 3 hours to feed him. Sometimes he will let us know that he is hungry when he decides that he wants some more milk a bit earlier on, but he would probably sleep through all night if we let him, and obviously we won't, because that's not safe for him because he could get dehydrated. But he is a really good sleeper. Now he's only 9 days old, so I'm not gonna like get too excited about that, but for now he's already in a routine, and it's sort of one that he's just created for himself really. We as a routine put the other two to bed around 7 o'clock, and then he comes down with us, and then that is the period where he is a fussy little monkey, and he gets really grumpy and he wants to snack on like small, like an ounce here and there for a couple of hours, and he can be really grumpy and whingy and hard work. And then once he's sated, which I would say is about like 8 o'clock, half 8, he then is sort of done for the night, and we begin the process of basically dream feeding him, to be honest. And he's doing plenty of like wet nappies and pooey nappies and stuff, so that's been a joy because we've got 2 now in nappies, but you know, we're getting there. The kids are doing really, really well. Bill has not batted an eyelid. Bill was born to be a big brother, so he doesn't really seem to care. And Daisy's trying so hard. She has melted our heart a little bit, to be honest, with the affection and the love that she's shown him. She puts so much effort into trying to be like nice and trying to help, and it's quite heartbreaking really, because I think it's just her way of sort of trying to be involved, and we're really encouraging that, because obviously she's like still a little girl, she's tiny, she's a baby herself, and we really want her to know that she's still really important and special to us. She probably is struggling the most out of the 2 older children, but I think that's to be expected because it's the first time she's been a big sister, and she's obviously very young. As for who he looks like, I would say personally that he is very much Mark's little mini me. Now obviously like Mark isn't always in my videos that much, but when I look at Stanley, I just feel like he really, really looks like his dad. He's got his dad's nose, and I think he's got his dad's eyes as well, but I think he probably has like my mouth. And then the hair, I would say like his hairline is very similar to Mark's, and he just really seems to resemble him. Not to say that there isn't like comparisons between him and Bill, because there definitely is, despite them not sharing the same biological father. And then obviously there's comparisons between him and Daisy, because you can just tell that they're related. He's definitely my darkest child, I would say. He has the darkest hair out of all 3. Believe it or not, Bill actually had really dark hair when he was born, but went blonde. But Bill was much fairer in complexion from the get-go, whereas Stanley is more like me and Mark. We tan quite easily, and he's just lovely. He's just so sweet, and we're just in love with him. We're really, really content and happy at the moment, and I'm well aware that that could change, because babies and children, they keep you on your feet all the time. But it's just been really, really nice to have this past week just as a family, and like do all the stuff, like, you know, just take photos on my phone and video clips on my phone, and not have to get my camera out, and just be like a, you know, like a normal family, because you do like share a lot online sometimes, and it was quite nice to switch off. And I am just so grateful for everybody's like comments and supports. I've been trying really hard over on Instagram to like reply when I can, but please forgive me at the moment, because I'm just like, I'm all over the place. I'm trying so hard, but yeah, I will try and be doing like regular videos again soon. But I just wanted to introduce him really, so you can say hello. But if there's any requests like for baby related content or anything like that, questions, anything that you think of, just leave them down below, and I'll either do like a pregnancy Q&A or a, you know, newborn Q&A or anything like that. Just let me know, and I will do my best to get the ball rolling again and get back to work. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and for being so lovely. If any of you are watching this and you're very close to having your baby, good luck, and please come back and let me know when baby arrives and if you're all okay. But yeah, I'm gonna go and cuddle this one, and I will see you next time. Bye.